Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada. Get ready. Prepare for blasting.
Your fortress of solitude.
Greetings, program.
Glad you're alive.
Your sanctum sanctorum.
Resistance is futile.
Welcome.
This your first triumph. This is where the fun begins.
Proof positive that geeks have inherited the earth.
It's showtime.
It's time to get your geek on.
You complete me.
With Dave Gramillion.
Ah, yes! Welcome here. I am Dave Gramillion, and this is Get Your Geek On, powered by Southtown Games on Pleasanton Road on the south side of San Antonio, near Loop 410, where your gaming family wants to welcome you. Here on Talk Radio, we are talking about Star Wars, Star Trek, DC, Marvel, video gaming, really all things geek that have dominated this little world of ours. You see, geek is not really what it was 20 or 30 years ago. Geek is in. Geek is very in. Geek is now the mainstream, and we are here to talk the latest and greatest that is geek right here on 930 AM The Answer Talk Radio and 930amtheanswer.com. This is Season 2, Episode 8, and tonight we have some interesting news to get to indeed. First of all, Star Trek news, something we haven't gotten to in a little bit. We have some discovering news that we want to talk about. We've never discussed God on the show before, but we will tonight. It's kind of funny because we've talked politics a couple of times, but never God, and that is about to change, all thanks to Star Trek. And a 31-year-old man has been charged with stabbing another guy 7 times and hitting him with a mallet, all because of a tabletop game. And we will be talking about that as well, and finding out why he clearly won the initiative check, and we'll discuss that in some detail as well. Dark Tower, the Stephen King adaptation, has come out, and yeah, it's not good. The reviews are coming in from both critics and fans, and we'll tell you exactly what to expect coming out of that one. Then in the second half of the show, we want to get into the war under the war. I mean, what gets the most headlines when it comes to Marvel and DC? It's the box office, right? Everybody talks Wonder Woman, they talk Suicide Squad, they talk Ant-Man, they talk Avengers, they talk the box office. But they don't talk about television, and we'll talk about that coming up as well. And what happened to Valerian? That movie is $117 million in the hole on its production budget. What on earth happened there? We'll talk about that coming up as well. But first, we got to go through our checklist and make sure we have everything we need in order to have the premier talk radio show for geeks across the United States. First thing is, and I say we because really you're included in part of the show. Let's face it. We've been on the air for more than a year now. I figure y'all are as much a part of this as we are here in the studio. So do you have something to drink? There we go. Also, I like to keep a back scratcher on hand. I don't know what happened to y'all's because I gave you 2 of them on, for the anniversary there.
Left mine in Mexico.
I don't know where they wandered off to, but all right. So I have a back scratcher on hand just in case, and I always like to have with me my lightsaber of many, many years, Old Blue. There she is, keeping the Minox at bay. Outstanding. And of course, we also want to add in my sonic screwdriver. Excellent. And of course, you want to make sure that you're decked out in geeky apparel as well. I am rocking my San Antonio Mission Star Wars hat. I got this from Star Wars Night last week. Big shout out to John Hernandez and the San Antonio Mission staff. The missions lost 2-1, but it was a fun night. It was really a lot of fun out there at Wolf Stadium here in San Antonio. And if you are looking at us here on Facebook, we appreciate that. We do the live broadcast while we record the show. You'll look to my left, your right, across the radio dial, and you will see the founder, the Grand Poobah, the president, the Grand Admiral of SWASA, the Star Wars Society of San Antonio. He is Peter, our Minion.
Hello.
Minion, what are you rocking there?
I am wearing my Blastech DL44. It's the blaster that took out Greedo.
The Han Solo blaster.
And he shot first.
Excellent. And as you look further to the left, my left, your right across the radio dial, you will see our sound prognosticator. He is Goose. It is nice running the soundboard, isn't it?
It is. It very much is nice running the soundboard.
And Goose, what are you rocking there?
I am rocking this little nice shirt that I got from rippedapparel.com. It's a little 80s robot / vehicle action here. And if you would like to get a shirt like this or any fun other mashups, you can go to rippedapparel.com, get a shirt, any shirt you want, anything that you want from there. But if you put in GYGO at checkout, you will save 10%.
You know what I really like about their website?
What's that?
They constantly change. They
That's
refresh
right.
their
Their
content.
daily deals are always
Always
changing.
Some of them are like every 8 hours.
Yep.
They have new stuff coming up there all the time. Save 10% with the promo code GYGO. All right, we are ready to go here, so let's go ahead and without further ado and without further gilding the lily, let's go ahead and we'll talk some Star Trek news here, shall we?
Yeah. If you see clowns, better make sure that your face is round. And if you're in the blades, grab your uniform, cause it's future chic. All the haters know, we got photon torpedoes. Throw the Vulcan up if you're not from Roddy. Listen, stay with me now, live long and prosperous.
Trust baby, I'm Skynet. Trust baby, I'm Skynet. Trust baby, I'm
All right, and a quick reminder to everybody, we will be attending Dragon Con coming up here at the end of the month. I'll be flying out to Atlanta and covering Dragon Con out there. Pictures and videos to come. They'll all be posted to either our Facebook page or they'll be posted to getyourgeekon.org. All right, this segment brought to you by our friends over at Geek Fuel. Geek Fuel sends out monthly mystery boxes. We did a live unboxing here just last week. They were kind enough to send us a box. Some really terrific stuff in there. You can get Geek Fuel exclusive items. And if you go to geekfuel.com/getyourgeekon, you will get a free bonus item in your first box, guaranteed. That's from our friends over at Geek Fuel.
And maybe your bonus item won't be as creepy as ours was. There was that weeping angel light.
Yeah, I got that one.
That was creepy.
No, it's fine. I just don't look at her,
Okay. Well, you have just
you
don't
have
blink.
to keep looking at her.
You have to keep looking at her. That's
I
the
got
problem.
it simple. I just have like the camcorder on it and just.
Oh, hey, there you go.
There you go.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
Put a mirror in front of it. That works.
Now, if the battery runs out, you're dead. But
now, when it comes to Star Trek news, is there a con mini-series coming on the way? This rumor started actually back last Sunday when Geek Exchange claimed two sources confirmed to them that Meyer, who has worked on
Nicholas
several,
Meyer.
thank you, Nicholas Meyer. For some reason, I had Stephanie Meyer stuck in my head, but no, that's the author of the Twilight series.
good Lord.
Why?
Nicholas Meyer was working on a, quote, secret Star Trek project that was, in fact, a miniseries about Khan. This would be about 6 to 10 episodes in length. Presumably, it would chronicle what Khan was doing in his exile on Ceti Alpha V after Kirk dumped him there in the 60s.
A lot of waiting around in checkers.
Yeah, I mean,
Working on his tan?
I guess.
Not much of a tan to work on. It's like I can work on the tan or get buried by, sandstorm.
Well, and they didn't specify if this was when Ceti Alpha 6 exploded or if it was post. So we really
didn't
don't know.
specify anything. There's a lot of rumor and innuendo going on, and it could actually be a adaptation of the Rise and Fall of Khan, Nooney, and Singh by Greg Cox.
Yeah, the eugenics wars.
It's possible. However, rumors and comments coming out of San Diego Comic-Con say otherwise, say that it will settle around their time about what the Botany Bay and the crew did on Ceti Alpha V. Now, that's rumors and comments. No, of course, none of this is absolutely confirmed. However, when contacted by email on Monday, Meyer told Inverse, quote, I cannot possibly comment.
Or was it I cannot?
Cannot is K-H-A-N-N-O-T. So let me get this straight. If they do this on Ceti Alpha V, it'll be a Star Trek series that never goes into space and that is settled on a jungle planet by a crew that is stranded there with a broken ship that cannot leave. Is this Lost all over again?
Well, it's a jungle planet that becomes a sand planet.
Yes, but it sounds an awful lot like Lost. I mean, is J.J. Abrams in charge of this? What is J.J. up to nowadays? Do we know? This would be right up his alley. It sounds just like Lost. I can't imagine a Star Trek series that doesn't go into space.
Well, I hope they come up with something because there's only so much you can do with, those little sand things that went into Chekhov's ear.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, and who would play Khan? I mean, who would you get that could pull that off as well as Ricardo Montalban?
someone unknown.
I like what Autumn Sexton said. I don't like sand. It's irritating. Gets everywhere.
That line would have to be in there somewhere, wouldn't it?
It was coming sooner or later.
It would have to be. I'm not sold on this for a number of reasons. First and foremost, it's Star Trek. Star. You have to go into space. Otherwise, it's just lost. There's nothing sci-fi about it. Secondly, who cares what Khan did? We know what happens in the end.
He became bitter and a widower. That's what happened.
Boom. There you go. And he plays chess.
Yeah, and there's only so much you can do on what's left of Botany Bay.
And apparently he got updated personnel files from Starfleet, because otherwise how would he recognize Chekhov?
Admiral.
No.
Kirk.
I never forget the face, Mr. Chekhov.
I like
it. Chekhov wasn't on the show yet.
He wasn't even there.
There was one fan theory where he said that he always remembered it because Chekhov was in the restroom and he had to wait for him to come out. He's like, I never forget a face. You were in that restroom way too long.
That must have been it. Oh, goodness. So we know that they were talking about how other non-Discovery content will be coming out. However, and no, not content, just content. Thank you very much.
How many con puns are we going to have in this segment?
You know what's amazing is that we went through this entire segment without playing the Shatner. God!
Give him time.
Or even Zachary.
Because I'm not doing it.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm actually impressed that we were able to get through that because, man, there were so many opportunities. Oh, goodness. All right, so speaking of Star Trek Discovery.
Hold on. You mentioned Star Trek and J.J. Abrams, right?
Oh, God, play it. Gee. Okay, all righty. Thank you very much. All right, so speaking of Star Trek Discovery, this has come out. This caused a little bit of a stir on both sides. According to numerous sources, this is pretty much as confirmed as it gets. There's a scene during Star Trek Discovery where Jason Isaacs, who plays Captain Lorca, barks out, lock onto the bird of prey, basic pattern, beta 9, hard to port, fire at something for God's sake. And the director yells, cut. And everyone's like, wait, what? What happened? So Jason Isaacs steps off the stage, comes over to talk to the director, and the episode's writer, Kirsten Bayer, approaches and says, yeah, you can't say for God's sake. Yeah, that's an ad-lib. It was just supposed to be, fire at something, shoot at something. And he threw in the for God's sake. And Isaac says, wait, I can't say God? He said, how about for F's sake?
And it wasn't frack.
No.
That's another franchise.
He said, can I say that? And the writer says, you can say that before you can say God.
To be fair, outside of the first episode, Discovery is going to be streaming on CBS All Access. They don't have as much censorship as they do on broadcast television.
That is correct. That is true. So that brought up a whole discussion about God. And, how come God is banned in Discovery, and why is it you can drop an F-bomb before the G-bomb, and so on and so forth. And Roddenberry was, first and foremost, a humanist. He was not an atheist, but he was a humanist. So, for him, religion didn't come into play very much in the 23rd century. Now, in the original series, there were some references to God.
Yeah, the classic Bread and Circuses episode.
Bread and Circuses, where they were talking about sun worshippers, and it turns out they were Son, S-O-N worshippers, as in Son of God.
There's also Who Mourns for Adonai, where there was Apollo.
There was Apollo, which was a god, although some people question as to whether or not he was part of the Q continuum.
Well, that's Trelane as well.
That Trelane as well, and of course Q as well. I mean, Q could be a god for all intents and purposes.
Don't forget also in Generations, they celebrated when Picard is in the Nexus. He's celebrating Christmas.
Celebrating Christmas, right. Which last time I checked is a Christian holiday.
And Data's Day, he's mentioning one of the religions. It was a Hindu festival that was taking place on the Enterprise, if I'm not mistaken.
And in fact, when it was
that was the wedding of Keiko and Miles.
That's the one. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
When it was time to make Star Trek the motion picture, Roddenberry's original treatment included the idea that V'ger was actually behind Jesus Christ, and they shot that down.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be.
That would
yeah.
be no, especially in the 70s.
Now, Deep Space Nine goes into religion very, very much so. Very much so. Of course, by this time, Gene Roddenberry had passed on, so the writers didn't really feel that kind of constraint. I mean, DS9 tackles 3 religions. There's the Dominion religion, in which the founders are gods. There's the Bajoran religion, and then there's Klingon religion.
Yes.
And they do actually get into the Terran religion somewhat as well. In fact, in the episode Valiant, which is in season 6, Jake Sisko is interviewing one of the crewmen of the Valiant and says, what was it like living on the moon? And she says that every morning when the sun rose on the moon, she said it was like seeing God every morning.
Yeah, that was a very good episode. That had featured a bunch of cadets.
It did. Yeah, Red Squad that had taken command of the USS Valiant. And of course, I mean, there's a very famous line from Star Trek V.
Oh, God.
Which I
Star
can't.
Trek.
Yeah, I know. We promised we'd never reference that abomination of a Star Trek movie. But let's face it, when talking about God, you have to acknowledge what Captain Kirk said at the time.
What does God need with a starship? I said, what does God need with a starship?
I mean, that was episode 5, or Star Trek 5 was basically the search for God. We had the search for Spock in the third movie. Now we have the search for God. That's basically what the movie was. So God has been part of Star Trek, whether you like it or not. And the idea that it is now completely forbidden, my knee-jerk reaction is, what? Really? Okay. But then I think about it, and if they're going to stay true to Roddenberry's vision, the humanist vision, then that does actually make sense. It does make sense if they want to keep it that way. Plus, I do like that they're at least going to be consistent. They're not going to be, well, okay, this one character can talk about God, and the Klingons, well, they can talk. No, there's no God in Star Trek Discovery. They're just, so at least I appreciate them for being consistent, being true to themselves and not being all wishy-washy about it. So that's some good news.
I suppose.
I mean, I certainly wouldn't mind if they had a little God in there, but that's my own personal belief.
Well, I'm pretty sure, somewhere on these Federation vessels, I'm pretty sure they have to have a chaplain somewhere in there.
I'm trying to remember if there was ever a chaplain in Star Trek.
I'm pretty sure, well, they never mentioned them by name, but I'm pretty sure they have to have some type of chaplain.
I would imagine. I mean, they do have religious ceremonies on occasion. So, sorry. So that's your Star Trek news there. Now I want to talk about Geeks Gone Wild here.
I've got a sound for that.
Oh, you got a sound for it? Oh, yeah. Let's hear it.
I think you did a little too much LDS.
Yeah, I think when you hear this story, you're going to agree with me here. I want to take a quick moment here to acknowledge our friends over at Laser Legend. They are definitely not crazy, but you'd be crazy not to beat the heat over there. Laser Legend is found on the north side of San Antonio on 1604 and Lookout Road. Indoor laser tag, well air-conditioned party rooms. You see what I'm getting at here. It's too hot outside. Go to Laser Legend, hang out there at their 4,000 square foot video arcade. That's our friends over at Laser Legend. So a 31-year-old man has been charged with stabbing a geek 7 times and hitting him with a mallet after an argument broke out during a game of Magic the Gathering. Yeah,
I wonder if he used all his mana for that attack.
Yeah, did he tap his mana? Did he tap enough mana for that one? That was the big question there. According to the St. Cloud Police Department in Minnesota, Elijah Creech and his 20-year-old gaming buddy were playing Magic the Gathering on Friday when the two of them got into a heated argument. They didn't say about what. I'm really curious about, whether there was a flying creature that he didn't have or an instant that it wasn't cast correctly. I don't know. So police say that Creech hit the guy in the head with the rubber mallet and then stabbed him 7 times in the front, sides, and in the back of his neck. Creech ended up calling 911, worried that the man was going to die. Luckily, the victim was taken to the hospital, and the injuries do not appear to be life-threatening. So if we can take one thing out of this, we can say that while his dexterity check was pretty low, his constitution check was rather high.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And listen,
He had all kinds of defense points.
that's right. His armor class was pretty good. But listen, folks, this is why you roll for initiative. Okay, if you don't roll well for initiative, then the guy grabs the mallet and then he grabs his +1 mallet, clearly. +1 mallet and his +2 dagger of impalement. And, well, there you go. There goes your Magic the Gathering Knight. Creech has been arrested and charged with 1st and 2nd degree assault.
Jeez. That reminds, there was, something like that almost happened at Comic-Con several years ago when I was there. A couple of guys were fighting over a seat or something like that, and one of them pulled out a pencil and just stabbed the other guy in the eye or something.
With a pencil?
Yeah. So that was kind of like an ongoing joke that next Sunday. I was like, man, I'd give my right eye for a seat or something.
Oh, gracious.
Yeah.
Oh, what, are you kidding me here? Oh, man.
I'll keep an eye out for it. So that was just an ongoing thing that Sunday. So.
Oh, my goodness.
All righty. So let's get in the few minutes that we have left here. I want to talk a little bit about Dark Tower. The trailer for this, first of all, looked fantastic.
Yeah, the trailers look awesome.
Matthew McConaughey, Idris Elba, some kid, I don't know. But it looked great, right? So it's based off a Stephen King set of novels. I think there are 7 novels in total. And here it comes. You knew this was going to happen. If it looks good, it doesn't end up being good. 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now this is on Thursday, as of Thursday. 19% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Did Warner Brothers make that movie?
It makes you wonder if it's a DC flick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Now, of course, but Dave, that's the critics. Surely the heroes at IMDb.com, the user ratings, will save this movie. Oh, man, 6.5 out of 10.
Somebody rolled a 1.
6.5 out of 10. But, however, it did get a 9.3 on women over the age of 45. You know
I
why?
blame Matthew McConaughey for
Matthew
that one.
McConaughey, that's right. That's right. You can thank my friend Matthew McConaughey there.
All right.
That's right. You know what I like about them Hollywood movies? They keep on making them. That's right. Not keep getting me in them.
Oh,
that
Lord.
car commercials. That's right. Some of the comments that came out of this were superficial and uninspired. Reaching half-heartedly for the epic only makes the Dark Tower appear smaller. About the only thing holding it together is Idris Elba, whose irrepressible magnetism and Man of Stone solidity anchors this mess, but cannot redeem it. And my personal favorite, tries to be ambitious, but fails.
Which can be said a lot about Stephen King's work.
Boy, no kidding. Has there ever been a really good Stephen King adaptation?
The Dead Zone television series.
The 70s Carrie. But then again, that was just...
Yeah.
It was what it was for its time.
I mean, but the It series was not that good. The Shining was not that good. The Shining mini-series was not that good.
Was Cujo any good? I haven't seen Cujo.
It's okay. So, Dark...
God, what was the...
Boy, this is raining endorsements on Stephen King tonight. Good
Lord.
Lord.
Tommyknockers. The Tommyknockers made-for-TV movie. That was glorious.
Wait.
Awful.
Actually, there was Stand By Me. That was based on one of his short stories.
Okay, well, there you... Oh, short story.
Yeah.
Let's give it to him. Let's give him the win.
Right.
Ding!
So the Dead Zone television series and Stand By Me.
Circle gets the square.
The big miniseries that he had.
That'd be it.
No. There was another one he did.
The Langoliers?
No.
Because that one was really bad.
Oh God.
The one it had Balto in it.
No,
that was
it was
terrible.
with Randall Flagg.
I have no idea.
Listeners, help me out here.
We'll figure it out during the break.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Overdrive.
Fontaine Delatour Emmerich in the Facebook chat saves us here with Maximum Overdrive.
Hey, AC/DC.
Maximum Overdrive. Y'all remember that
The
one?
Stand?
Yes.
The Stand,
That's
maybe?
the one I was looking at. The
Okay.
Stand.
The Stand was that any good?
The big miniseries that he had.
I didn't see that one.
That was like over several nights or something like that. It was a small miniseries. It was good.
It was good? Okay, I
started out
admit
good.
I never saw that one.
Yeah.
I did see Maximum Overdrive. That was one about how all the cars come to life and try to kill everyone. That one was bad. I saw the Nostalgia Critic did the Langoliers, and that was hilariously bad. So Stephen King adaptations.
There's only one, besides Star Trek V, there's also only one other thing around here that's considered hilariously bad.
And that is?
Stir, whip, stir,
No! Oh, God. Oh. Ugh. Whew, yeah, no. All right, so, I mean, I'm still interested in The Dark Tower. I don't think I was ever planning on seeing it in the theaters anyway. If it's going to cost me $15 to go to the theater, it's got to be a really good movie.
Indeed.
And, I mean, I was tempted to go see this. I mean, Matthew McConaughey as the devil intrigued me. Idris Elba looks
For
looks
most
awesome.
guys, Matthew McConaughey is the devil.
That's right, because
Yep.
I keep making those car commercials.
Oh wait,
That's
somebody
right.
else mentioned the Green Mile.
The Green Mile
The
was
Green
good.
Mile.
Okay,
Okay.
there you go.
All right, circle gets the square. All right, Matthew McConaughey is going to take us out.
There
That's
you go.
That's
Thank
right.
you, Joe Williamson, for that one.
Yeah, I got to thank Joe Williamson for that. Don't forget to come back after the break here. We'll have more Matthew McConaughey coming up. We're talking Marvel shows and DC shows there on TV. We'll be right back here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer and 9:30 a.m. TheAnswer.com. Y'all be right back.
Hi, this is George Newbern, the voice of Superman, and you're listening to Get Your Geek On, 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
And we are back from the bottom of the hour news break here on 9:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. TheAnswer.com. Welcome back. This is Get Your Geek On, powered by Southtown Games on Pleasanton Road near Loop 410 on the south side of San Antonio, where your gaming family wants to welcome you. I am Dave Gramillion, and if you missed the first half of our show, we talked quite a bit about some Star Trek news that was out there, including a possible Khan miniseries, why there is no God in Star Trek Discovery. We also went into a little bit of detail about a stabbing and a guy hit in the head with a mallet over a game of Magic the Gathering. That was some fun. And we talked a little bit about Dark Tower, the movie that has come out this weekend, and the lousy ratings that it's gotten from critics and from fans alike. I do want to throw in one note here that I forgot. Its runtime is 95 minutes. Barely an hour and a half runtime. That's the same runtime as some Disney animated features.
That's actually a seeable movie then.
Yeah. You'll have time then.
But whether anybody wants to see it
is a different issue.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get too in-depth into our second half topics, I do want to take a quick moment here to talk about our friends over at Southtown Games. We talked about them just a little while ago. I was down there not too long ago. I know Peter's been down there as well. And Goose, you have a Southtown story?
I did. I went there, was it last week or the week before that, and picked up my Final Fantasy card game pack.
Outstanding.
And it's a very, very nice location that they have right there. That not a lot of space, but they do a lot with it. And they have, if it's a competitive tabletop game, they pretty much do it. They pretty much have it.
You know, I stopped down there a weekend or two ago myself, and I mean, as soon as I walk in the door and I start looking around, one of the staff members is right there saying, "Hey, how you doing?" Well, it's hot out there. You know, we have drinks if you want.
Very
drinks.
attentive, very cool.
What's your game? What do you play? Hey, do you know about our tournament? Hey, do you need some supplies, some accessories? They're right there with you, and they'll hold your hand every step of the way if you need it. If you have questions, they'll answer your questions. Great staff, great time, great fun can be had down at Southtown Games.
And they released the Dragon Ball CCG last week.
Ooh, okay. I'm going back. I'm going back to Southtown because I want to check that out.
I think what we need to do, we need to make 2 stops when we go to Laser Legend. We need to go to Southtown first.
I think that may be a good idea. Alrighty, so that's down on Pleasanton Road on the south side of San Antonio near Loop 410. That is Southtown Games. All right, so there's a war going on between Marvel and DC for the box office. All right, everybody knows this. Wonder Woman was the first super successful movie with the critics and fans. I believe it's now hit 800 million worldwide, surpassing Deadpool now. But Marvel, they're like, bring it on. We don't care. You've had 3 that have not done well, so just let's do it. Let's bring it on. But underneath the war for the box office, there's another war that maybe you don't know too much about. A war going on for the soul of television itself. A war between DC and Marvel on millions of households every week across America. A war that is raging right now. It's raging on Netflix. It's raging on televisions. It's raging. It's not the big box office war that everybody talks about, but instead, it's a war for everyday Americans. And boom! That was timed pretty well. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we're talking, of course, about Marvel shows and DC shows on television. And there are several on both sides that are in now multiple seasons, and they're coming out with new shows. It almost seems like every year they're coming out with new and exciting shows. So let's break down. Let's talk about the Marvel shows first. What was the first big MCU show? I think that would be what? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think it starts,
one.
season 5?
I believe season 5.
Agent Carter.
Agent Carter.
Agent Carter. Okay, that lasted 2 seasons. You've got The Gifted coming up on Fox this fall, as well as the new Warriors on Freeform.
Okay, so that's 3 big ones?
Well, if you count Netflix.
Well, and Inhumans is coming out, too, in the fall.
Let's stick right now, for the sake of argument, we're going to stick with the cable discussion. Netflix will be
broadcasting cable
thing.
right now. Yeah. So we've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, which lasted 2 seasons. You've got The Gifted coming out in the fall, and new Warriors on Freeform.
All right, so what happened to Agent Carter? Why did that not succeed? Because that one just...
It started out great. The first season was really, really good. I think...
Oh, yeah, and Legion on FX.
Oh, yeah.
That's right, Legion.
Okay, I think when they took everything out of from New York and they went to Hollywood for the setting, I think people lost interest.
Yeah, they do seem to like, if you're going to do I guess you could call it like a crime drama almost.
Or period piece.
Yeah, they like to keep it in New York. For whatever reason, whenever you go out to California, things just don't, especially for extended period of time. So, I mean, there have been shows that do the occasional episode in L.A.
Yeah.
But when was the last great L.A. show?
24.
That was it,
They
right?
did 6 seasons in Los Angeles.
I mean, think of it, and you had...
NCIS Los Angeles does pretty well too.
But you have CSI Vegas, CSI New York, CSI Miami. There is no CSI LA.
No.
So I mean, you don't see a lot of shows based out of California, and Agent Carter was no exception. That's where it kind of
the production on it was great because it was for the first season and even in still part of the second season, you loved the settings because everything was
So, I haven't seen the second season yet.
It's okay. A lot of people didn't.
And that's why it didn't get a third.
All right, so Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was their first one, and that started strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, that dealt with Phil Coulson, Agent Coulson, and how he mysteriously came back from the dead after the Avengers movie, the first Avengers movie.
Right.
And then went kind of through there. Now, I admit, I watched through season 1, I watched most of season 2, and then I just lost interest.
Same here.
I've watched it faithfully ever since it started airing.
Well, you go, sir.
That's right.
So what were the other ones? Legion on FX.
I haven't actually. I've seen part of the first episode. That's really all I've seen.
All right, so let's judge now Marvel TV as a whole. TV, not Netflix, not Netflix
or anything like that. By and large, it's not. The ratings probably aren't where they should be, and of course we've got one show that's already been canceled. We've got a show that is shaky, so it's not even going to start off the season. Inhumans is going to start off the season. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to start after Inhumans is over, and I think it's now on its 4th or 5th time slot. It's going to move to Fridays at 9/8 Central.
Which, unfortunately, we've discussed this before. Friday nights have been called where shows go to die.
So,
that's
let's not bring up Firefly.
I'm sorry. Now I'm looking at the ratings now for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 4, and their finale, which ended May 16th. Not good. Just about 2 million viewers, down from where they premiered at 3.4, almost 3.5 million viewers.
Now, the interesting thing about Marvel, at least the MCU, so we're going to have, so it was connected. So you had,
I was going to say that, yeah.
So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter were somewhat connected. They existed not in the same time, but in the same continuity.
And also, She did make an appearance, a cameo in Ant-Man, so
Yes,
she
she
was
did.
still there.
Now, one of the things that actually drove me a little bonkers was how Marvel was trying to force you to watch the shows by incorporating them into the movies.
Yeah, because they brought in Jane Alexander as
Lady Sif.
Sif, yeah.
But what I mean is that if you
And
watch
Nick Fury was in a few episodes
at
too.
the end of the first Avengers movie,
right?
Okay, Loki is locked up. We have the scepter. Life is good. Here we go. You pick up the second one, and Loki is out, and we're going after the scepter again.
Right.
And we're like, whoa, excuse me, where did this come from? And we're dealing with all this Hydra stuff and these former Hydra guys, and you're like, whoa, what's going on? And you have to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to get the connection.
Well, you don't have to, but it makes for a grander tapestry if you do.
That's true, and you are more interwoven into that
That's
tapestry.
right. So so Inhumans is going to take place inside that Marvel Cinematic Universe as well. What's not going to take place in that Marvel Cinematic Universe is Legion on FX and Gifted, which is basically a New Mutants show on Fox. Making her reappearance, though, is Blink, who was in Days of Future Past.
And I like that.
Yes.
I've always liked Blink. I thought Blink was great in the comics. I thought Blink was underrated and should have been used more in the movies. I do. I like Blink big time. All right, so let's give a grade to Marvel TV shows. Again, not Netflix, just cable.
Yeah.
A through F.
Currently, I'm going to sit with a B-.
That's about where I would give it. A B-, maybe a C+.
Yeah, I'd say so.
But I mean, like a 79 is a C+. I mean, like right there. So, alrighty. So now let's talk DC.
Okay. Now, going back to Marvel, though, just right quick, one thing I don't necessarily care for in a lot of the Marvel shows is that they are not family friendly. They are sophisticated. They appeal to the adult audience, but as far as being able to bring your kids into the party, they're not. No.
But they're Disney shows.
No, they're ABC shows. They're not.
But
They're
if you
Marvel Comics shows.
But if you listen to all the Star Wars fans, Disney runs everything. So Disney makes everything. So it's a
Disney does
show.
make it, but it's not the Disney Channel target audience. But that's my main. That's one of the things that I like and I don't is that you can get into it and it's more mature, but it lacks the appeal of being family viewing. That's why Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. got pushed as far back as it did in the schedule.
And if you're following us on our Facebook chat at facebook.com/GYGOofficial, put in your grade. What would you grade Marvel cable television series A through F? I'd give it a high C+, Goose a B-. Minion, where would you put it?
About a B-.
About a B- as well. All righty.
Everything started out strong, but then I just lost interest.
DC shows. And this is, everybody sits up a little bit straighter now because they're like, oh, yeah. Because where DC has failed at the box office, a lot of people say that they have made up for it with television content. Let's talk some DC shows here.
So that started with Arrow.
Flash.
And then Flash. And as far as the Arrowverse is concerned, you've got Arrow, Flash, Legends, and Supergirl. But then on Fox, you also have Gotham.
All right, so Arrow, Flash... We said
Legends,
Gotham,
Supergirl, and
Legends,
Gotham.
Supergirl. So that's 5 DC shows already.
And then Powerless, which lasted a season.
Meow.
Makes me sad.
So it really was powerless.
Anyway.
All right, so that's 5, and these are multi-season shows.
Yes. Supergirl starts season 3. Arrow starts season 6. Flash season 4. And Legends season 3.
And you didn't have to look at his notes. Isn't that awesome?
And Gotham starts season 4 or 5.
All right, so let's start where it all began. Let's start with Arrow.
Yes.
All right, so Arrow on the CW comes out, and first impression of the show Arrow.
Man, I wish we could get Batman.
There you go.
That was basically... That's what Arrow turned into for a while. It's like, well, we're doing this because we can't have Batman.
I liked it because I've always been a Green Arrow fan, and even though for a while he wasn't called Green Arrow, but at the same time, it was still kind of dark, still kind of gritty. Yeah, it's not Gotham, not Gotham City. But at the same time, it's like it also expanded. It for people just turning in. I think people are like, okay, who's this character? It's like, who's Green Arrow? And then you go out and look up Green Arrow, and where all this stuff starts to come in.
Well, and the thing I like is that they didn't start off with the Flash. They started off with a B more obscure, and somebody who, if you've been a fan of the comic since the 90s, it's a very, very liberal, very progressive character.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're like, okay, where are they going to go with this? Because the way they promote it, at least early on, that Oliver is not the Oliver that was in Justice League, even Justice League the cartoon.
Yes, that's correct.
Much different character. Like I said, this was they won't let us use Batman. But it was very interesting, and kind of once I finally got over the fact that they're making a Green Arrow show, really, I started watching it on Netflix, and I truly have grown to really enjoy that series and its characters.
Now, when it comes to the Flash, I think one thing pops into everyone's mind: quit messing with the timeline, Barry.
Now, when the Flash came in, I had my reservations at first, but then I saw the pilot episode, I was hooked.
Well, even the backdoor pilot in Arrow was really good.
Yeah.
And the thing I like about the Flash is that it left out the adult themes that Arrow had.
Right.
And you could bring the family to that. That it airs at 8/7 Central on the CW, and there's a reason for that. It's because it is more family friendly. It is
more of a
primetime show that you can get your kids into.
Now, when it comes to Supergirl, this one made quite a splash.
Right.
Yes.
Because, of course, of who they picked for Supergirl, and, okay, it's a woman-led show now, so we're going to pay more attention to that, and controversy, this, that, and the other. Let's before we even talk about the show, let's talk about the actress herself.
All right.
Melissa Benoist, okay.
Yeah,
yes,
great.
Who plays Kara Danvers. Thank you.
Or Kara Zor-El, depending on
how has she fared as Supergirl?
She's done great.
She has. She's done fantastic.
I have no issues with anybody on that show.
With anybody?
No, everybody has been great at the characters that they have chosen to portray.
Even Superman.
Even Superman.
I think he.
Dude, that guy was awesome as Superman.
He's a. I'll come out and say I think he was more Superman than our. Yeah.
You're gonna say.
Than the Batman Superman. Yeah. That was Superman.
Honestly, I think he's the Superman that Brandon Routh should have been allowed to be.
Exactly.
True.
Brandon Routh, man, it's true what they say. You're either a bad superhero or live long enough to become a good one.
Well, he did. He redeemed himself by being the Atom.
I think Ben Affleck and Ryan Reynolds
yep.
and Brandon Routh.
That's about right. All right, so the show now we've had a 4-episode crossover as well, and we've had a musical episode for Supergirl.
Yeah, because don't forget she did start out on CBS, but I was like, no, she belongs on CW.
Well, and the thing about CBS is that it was great to see a good superhero show on one of the big three again.
Mm-hmm.
I think Flash or Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman was the last time that happened. And it was great. However, that show is better suited for the CW,
right?
Because you can interconnect them more, and because it was the same production company, Greg Berlanti's production company was the one doing it, and everybody was wanting them to all be connected. They moved to the CW because you can get away with lower ratings on the CW than you can on CBS.
Right.
All right. So here's the big question then. All right, so we talked about Marvel's failings in TV, but what, if any, has DC done wrong with television?
Powerless.
Well, besides powerless. That was just a mistake from the beginning.
Honestly, I don't think they've done a lot wrong in regards to those 4 shows. And even their spinoffs, if you will, the CW Seed with Vixen and Constantine coming out. Constantine on NBC was probably not the best choice.
Probably not.
That probably could have gone to the CW and done better. But even then, they made that part of the Arrowverse when Constantine guest starred on Arrow.
Yeah, that was awesome when he came in.
Yeah, and when they do the animated series on CW Seed, the same guy is going to voice Constantine. So that'll be good.
Getting back to Supergirl, I like what Reagan says here. Actress from Supergirl seems more real and personable.
Yeah, and the guy that they have, playing John Jones, when they first brought him on as Hank Henshaw, I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah,
and then it turns out it's the Martian Manhunter. And I'm like, oh,
there you
wow.
go. Hey,
and they've done a really good job of incorporating past Superman actors, Dean Cain,
Helen Slater,
Terry Hatcher, and coming up, Erica Durant is going to be done because they recast Supergirl's mom.
Now, a big question that has come up is: are there going to be Star Wars shows coming? They've been long rumored, and I think people want them.
Live action or animated?
Live action.
They've been talking about that since the end of episode 3.
They have. And to be honest, what I would want to see, if anything, would be... I mean, they talked about Underworld and how that was going to be a thing at some point.
But we've had Star Wars TV shows.
Live action?
No, not live action.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean, live action. No.
Droids.
No, we're not talking Rebels or Clone Wars either. What I would like to see a live action Old Republic TV series.
That's been rumored about for years.
Nomi Sunrider, Ulick Keldroma, Darth Bane. I mean, let's go old school. Thousands of years before Luke and Leia.
But could a television budget sustain that type?
That's the thing.
With the special effects and everything, it would be interesting to see. But I think it could work. I mean, lightsabers can't be that expensive, can they? It's a glow effect. And a sound effect. I mean,
rotoscope it.
How bad
can
it be?
Yeah, but the licensing for the John Williams music is a separate deal entirely.
But if Disney does it, who cares? They own the license. They own it already. Who cares? I think if they're going to do a Star Wars show, I would want to see that. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think they're all wrapped up in the movies. But it'd be fun to see.
Okay, so are we going to grade the DC shows?
Let's grade the DC shows.
Of course, we didn't tap that much into Gotham because it's its own universe.
Yeah,
right. And it's just wrapped up season 4, and that show has done a really good job of developing the Penguin as a character and the Riddler as a character.
I will say this much about Gotham: I didn't get too much past the first season though, but the pilot, when you see Thomas and Martha Wayne die, that was probably the most graphic version of that murder that I had ever seen, and that's counting even the movies.
Which I think is the third time in live action that we've seen them die.
All right, so let's grade DC TV shows overall. I got to give it probably an A-.
I'd say A.
A solid A for y'all.
Solid
A. A- for me, but I'm cynical and have no heart, so
But the only reason to get A+ was because Powerless got canceled.
Yeah, that's true. That was a shame too. Alan Tudyk looked like he was having a lot of fun with that show. Alrighty, so in the few minutes that we have remaining here, let's talk about Valerian. Now, we reviewed Valerian at the Alamo Drafthouse, which is our exclusive home for watching movies. But unfortunately, it seems like not a lot of other people went to go see it. I liked it. For what it was, I thought it was a pretty reasonably decent movie. It didn't blow me away. It wasn't the best thing I'd seen, in the history of ever. But certainly it was better than this. Now, the production budget is $177 million. Currently, last time I checked on Thursday, it was sitting at $62 million worldwide.
Okay, so with Valerian, I think part of the problem, and this is just me thinking, it's not a sequel, number one. So you had Spider-Man Homecoming, you got War of the Planet of the Apes, you have all these other things that are established properties. Mm-hmm. Not only that, but it's based on an obscure graphic novel at that. So you're asking the audience, when it comes time to spend money, are you going to go with a tried and true franchise that we know will give you quality entertainment, or you can go for something that's just really obscure and looks kind of weird?
Now here was something that really hurt it, was the competition. When it came out the same weekend as Girls Trip, which did make some money.
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
It came out the same weekend as Dunkirk.
Oh, Dunkirk was a good movie, by the way.
I haven't seen it, but it looked really good.
It was good.
That hurt. And War for the Planet of the Apes was only in its second week, and Spider-Man Homecoming was in its third week.
Yeah, there was no saving.
That's some serious competition.
Because Dunkirk, you just say Christopher Nolan does this movie, and you've got your built-in audience.
Cha-ching! Cha-ching! Now, I think what probably did it for me was that looking at the trailers, yes, we know it's going to be visually breathtaking, but there's not a lot else to pull me in besides the visuals.
Yeah, because when I saw your review that you did, I was like, okay, this came out, because everybody said, oh, this is where they got the idea for this for Star Wars and stuff.
Yeah, they did pull a few things.
And considering its director, who also did Fifth Element.
Yes.
And I was like, I still want to sit down and probably watch this. I just haven't had time.
True.
But hopefully, we'll see how things kind of go maybe with the DVD release.
Now, I still encourage people to go see it. I think it's worth seeing in the theater. But just keep in mind, it's not going to be the best movie you've ever seen. Don't expect that. The acting is not fantastic. The story is not fantastic. And there are definitely some parts where the movie really drags. But I think that's what kills the movie, is that the visuals are breathtaking. They're fantastic. They're way up here. They're way up high. Everything else is just standard or substandard.
So it's basically like a CGI version of The Dark Tower, because according to women, the visuals for The Dark Tower are fantastic.
Yes,
but
they were.
But the reviews and what people are talking about it isn't so much.
Same thing with Avatar.
Oh God, don't sign.
The visuals for Avatar were breathtaking
you mean
and wonderful.
Pocahontas in space?
Well, Dances with Wolves in Space. Only there, I think the acting was probably done a little better. There just wasn't a lot of emotion to come out of this movie.
The DC animated Pocahontas was better than Avatar.
Oh, ooh, ouch. Ooh. I'm glad I saw it in the theaters once. It's kind of like with Man of Steel. I'm glad I saw Man of Steel in the theaters once. Would I go back and see Man of Steel again in the theater? No.
How about if it was free?
Well, that's a different story.
Or how about if Henry Cavill was doing a Q&A after?
Okay, well, hang on, hold the phone there. But I'm talking about for the every person, for our audience, for the listeners out there. I do think it's worth seeing in the theater once. After that, is it worth repeat viewings? Probably not. But you'll be glad you did. I mean, the biggest surprise for me was how well Rihanna did. Rihanna was one of like the top 3 highlights for the entire movie.
Was she now?
But it's hard to get invested in.
She was in that?
Yeah.
She was in Man of Steel?
Yeah, she was.
It's been a while since I've seen it.
No, she was in Valerian.
Oh, okay.
Not Man of Steel. So I do recommend seeing it at least once, but they're $117 million in the hole for Valerian, and probably for some good reason. All right, so that's going to go ahead and wrap things up here. If you want to tweet at us, you can find us at GYGO_official. Shoot me an email at davethehost@getyourgeekon.org. For Goose, for Minion, and for myself, I want to thank our sponsors, Southtown Games, Laser Legend, Geek Fuel, and The Mailing Spot. Thank you all for listening. May all your hits be crits, and be sure to get your geek on every single day. Good night, everybody.